Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, hope you all are doing very well in your lives. In today's video I will be explaining exercise 9a, in which basically we have to find factors of some algebraic expressions. So let's look at these questions carefully. The first one is p square q plus pq square. Now if someone asks you what are the factors of 4, you will say 1, 2 and 4. Why? Because these three numbers completely divide 4. Now if someone asks you what's the factor of 8, you will say 1, 2, 4 and 8, because these are the numbers that completely divide the number 8. So like these we have factors for algebraic expressions. Now let's see how we find the factors in algebra case. So in this case we have p square q plus pq square. Now we have to find the factor. So what we will use here is we will use the concept of common factors, right? And those common factors will be between these two terms. There can be 3 terms, 4 terms and more terms, but right now we have 2 terms, so we have to look at the common factors, and that common factor is basically the HCF, not the LCM, highest common factor, right? So what we have to do is we have to find the highest common factor of these two numbers, or simply you can see which variable is there that divides or that is present in both of these terms. See, p square is here, p is here. That means the number or the variable with the least power is the common factor over here. Or there is one more way you can do it, p square q, and then write pq square, right? Now p square q means p multiplied by p multiplied by q, right? We have to find the HCF. pq square means p multiplied by q multiplied by q. Now look at the common factors. That is p, and then we have one q, right? Nothing else is common here, so we can say HCF here is p multiplied by q, which is pq. The same you did in your previous classes, that is in class 6, class 5. You found HCF in this way. Same we are doing here in form of algebra. So the HCF is pq. That means we will write pq outside the bracket, because pq is common in these two, because pq can divide this in other way. We can say pq can divide this and pq can also divide this. Now you have written pq here. Pq multiplied by which number will be equal to this term? 1p is already here, so you will write 1p over here. Now you will not write q here. Why? Because q is already here. Q multiplied by 1 is q. So what you can say is here you have pq multiplied by p, which is p square q, and then you have a plus sign. Now p is already here, and you are left with 1q, so you will write 1q over here. Or I can show you one more way you can do it. You can do it in rough form like this. P square q, you have to divide it with pq, right? This q cancels this q, and 1p cancels one of the p, and you will get 1p here. So that's the reason we have written 1p here. And then you can say pq square divided by pq, and then this p cancels this p, this q cancels one of the q, and you will get q. So that's the reason you have written q here. Okay, now let's look at the next one. We have 3x cubed 15x squared y. Now see, 3 and 15. You have to look at the highest common factor for 3 and 15. Now for 3 it's 3 multiplied by 1, right? And for 15 it's 3 multiplied by 5. And what's common between these? 3 is common. So that means 3 will come outside the bracket, and then you have to look at the x's. Here we have x, and in this term we also have x. Now here the power is 3 and here the power is 2. Which one is the least power? 2 is the least power. So that means x square will come over here, and in the bracket you will write, see, you have written x squared, so 1x is left. You can write 1x here and then a minus sign. 3 multiplied by which number is 15? 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. x squared is already here, no need to write here. Y is not here, so you will write y here. So this will be the answer, right? Similarly, let's move to this one. 6p square q plus 12pq square. Now there may be some of you who can directly say that 6 is the highest common factor, because 6 is the number which divides both of these two, and this is the highest number as well. Some of you can say 3, but 3 is not the highest number that divides both of these. After 3 we have 6 also. 3 can divide 6 and 12, but 3 is not the highest common factor. The highest common factor is 6. And you can also do it using prime factorization, like 2, 3 is 6, 3, 1 is 3. And then for 12, 2, 6 is 12, 2, 3 is 6, and 3, 1 is 3. Now look at the common. 2, 2, 3, 3. And 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. That means the HCF is 6. Right? So you will write 6 outside. Now identify the P with the least power. This simple P. And identify the Q with the least power. Simple Q. And then in the bracket you will write 6 is already there. P with 1 power is there. One of the P will come here. And then already Q is there, so no need to write Q. Then plus 6 multiplied by 2 is 12, right? 6, 2 is 12. P is already there. One of the Q is there, one of the Q is not there. So you will write it like this. And always you can check your answers by multiplying it again, whether you are doing it correctly or not. Let me show you how you can do it. See, what you can do is multiply this again. 6 multiplied by 6pq multiplied by p is 6p square q. And 6pq multiplied by 2q is 6, 2 is 12 pq square. See, this is a kind of check that you can do in your exam, and this will help you see whether your answer is correct or not. Okay, now moving to the next question, we have 5a4b square plus 15a square b4. Now many of you might already have seen that the highest common factor here is 5, because 5 is that number, that highest number that divides this as well as this. Okay, so you will write 5 outside, the number with the least variable. See, a4, a squared is the least, and b square, b4. B squared is the least, right? And this is common in between, so that's the reason we are taking it outside the bracket. Now 5, 1 is 5, right? A squared is already here. One of the a squared is missing, because a squared multiplied by a squared gives you a4. B squared is already there, so that means just a squared we have to write here. Then 5 multiplied by which number is 15? 5 multiplied by 3 is 15. A squared is already there. We have one of the b square here, but one of the b square is missing, so we will write one of the b square here, and this will be our answer. And you can again check your answer. 5, 1 is 5. A squared is a4. B squared multiplied by 1 is b square. Now 5 multiplied by 3 is 15. Then you have a square, then b square multiplied by b squared is b4. Now moving to the next one, we have a different question that is of like 4 terms. What we can do here is we will split it in such a way that we get common brackets, common factors in the bracket that are same. Like see, if we split these two and try it, we have a x common here. We can write x. And in the bracket we will write y. X is already written here, and x multiplied by which number is x? X multiplied by 1 is x. Some of you may confuse it with x multiplied by x is x. No, x multiplied by x is x squared, which is wrong. X multiplied by 1 is x, right? Now see, you can't see any common here apart from 1, so you can take 1 as common. Plus 1, because we have a plus sign here, so we will take a plus 1. And y, 1 multiplied by y is y, plus 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. Now look at the brackets. This was what I was talking about. If you get these two brackets as the same, that means you are doing it correctly. Now see, in this and in this, you have y plus 1 is common. Y plus 1 is common. Now what remains? X and plus 1. So I will write it here, x plus 1. This is how you do it. And when you will multiply it and check it, you will get the same answer. Okay, now let's look at this question. It's similar to question number 6. Again, you will split it in 2 parts. right? And then let's look at these. A is common in between. Common means same, right? A is common in between these. Then the m's with the least power is m square, right? So m square will be written outside. Just focus on these two first. Now am square you already have written. One of the m is missing, so one of the m you will write here, because am square multiplied by m makes am cube, right? With the minus sign, am square multiplied by, you already have written this completely outside, so here you will write 1, because am square multiplied by 1 is am square. Now the number which appears in the first place, you will look at that sign and take it as common, that is minus, that's minus 1, and minus plus is minus, right? And you can write m here, minus plus is minus, when 1 multiplied by m is m. And now you have to decide this sign carefully, because now look, if I will write a plus here, minus plus is minus, it will be wrong. Now minus is plus, so I will write a minus here. And one more thing is, you have to compare this bracket with this bracket. This must be the same as this bracket. If this is not the same to this, that means you are doing it incorrectly. Now let's write it. The common in between these two is m minus 1. And what remains is am square and minus 1. So that's how you will write the answer. Okay. Now moving to the next one. We have a different question. Why different? Because there are 3 terms. And when you look at it carefully, there is no any common factor. These 2 have common factor, but when you compare it with 3, they all over do not have any common factor apart from 1. So what we can do is, we see this is a perfect square, this is also a perfect square. In the background of this question is a formula, but what you can do right now is try breaking this part, the middle term. What we can do is, we can divide it into 2 equal parts, that is 6ab and 6ab. Okay, now 6ab and 6ab makes 12ab. If we will do it, it will basically help us in solving the question. Now let's again split this into 2 parts. Now what's common factor of 4 and 6? The highest common factor of 4 and 6 is 2. You can't say 4 because 4 divides 4, but 4 does not divide 6. You can say 2 because 2 divides 4 and 2 divides 6 as well. So 2, and then you have a square here, you have a here. So 1a will be common. And here you will write 2 multiplied by which number is 4. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, then a also, because a multiplied by a is a square. Then you have a plus sign, 2 multiplied by which number is 6? 3. You have written a here, but b is missing, so you will write b here. Because 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, a multiplied by b is ab. Now same we will do with this part. We have a plus as common. 6 and 9's highest common factor is 3. Why? Because 3 divides this as well as this, and that's the highest factor. And other than that, we have b as common. We will write b outside. And 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. And what's missing? A is missing here. 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. Then AB. Plus 3 multiplied by 3 is 9, right? And one of the b is missing. We write it like this. Now compare the brackets. These two are the same. That means we are doing correctly. So it will be 2a plus 3b written once, because this is common. And then 2a plus 3b remains, which will be our answer. If you want, you can write it in this form, because 2a plus 3b is appearing twice. So it will be 2a plus 3b whole square. As I told you, in the background there is a formula, and the formula was this one, a plus b whole square. All those who know this formula can also solve this question using this formula. Now let's move to the next question, question 9. In question 9, we have a bracket, and when we look at a bracket, it comes to our mind directly that we have to multiply the terms. What we can do is x square written as it is, and minus c. This p is being multiplied by x, and this q is also being multiplied by x, along with this minus sign. Minus plus is minus, minus plus is minus. So you will write minus p multiplied by x is px. And minus plus is minus, q multiplied by x is qx. And then you have pq. Again split it into 2 parts. and look at the common factors. In this case we have x, right? And what we are left with is x minus p in the bracket, because x is x squared, x multiplied by p is xp. xp, px are the same thing because it's commutative. And now in these two, you will write the minus as common. As I told you, the initial term, whatever sign it has, you will take it as common. And in this case, we have q as common. And in the bracket, we will write x. Now, minus is plus. So, I will write minus here and then p. Now, compare the brackets. We are getting the same bracket. That means we are doing correctly. It will be x minus p and x minus q, which is our required answer. Okay. Coming to part 10, we have a very simple question. Just simply divide it in two parts and then look at the common. AB is here as well. So we will write AB as common outside the bracket, and then we are left with C here and we are left with 1 here, C minus 1. AB multiplied by C is ABC, AB multiplied by 1 is AB. Now here we will obviously take minus 1 as common and we will be left with C minus is plus, minus 1. Again we are getting the same brackets, that means we are doing it correctly. C minus 1 and AB minus 1 will be the answer. Okay, now if you are missing this step and directly writing this step, that means you are doing an incomplete solution. Your solution must be complete, right? Okay. So now we are left with the last question, which is very simple, but it looks very difficult when you look at it for the first time. Okay, now look at this question like with the concept of common factor. You are taking something, some part of the expression as common. What you have to look all over this equation, not just one part or this part or this part. Look at it as a whole. Now you will see that P plus Q plus R is here, here and here as well. That means that's basically our common factor. Why? Because it's dividing this as well as this and as well as this. So we can take P plus Q plus R completely outside as common, and then we are left with A plus B here, A plus B, and plus B plus C here, and plus C plus A here. Okay, now you have a better knowledge of algebra by now. We have to look here carefully at the like terms. A and A are like term, and when you add A and A, you get 2A. B and B are like term. When you add these two, you get 2B. When you add C and C, you get 2C, right? So the answer will be P plus Q plus R. Now look carefully again with the lens of common factor. Can you see a 2 here? Can you see a 2 here? Can you see a 2 here? Yes. So that means 2 is common, and you will write A plus B plus C here. Now it's up to you if you write it properly, like 2P plus Q plus R, A plus B plus C as the answer, or if you want to take this as the answer, that's also correct. Okay, let me tell you the reason why it's correct. For example, you multiply 4 and 6 and 2, and in this case you multiply 6 and 4 and 2. What will you get? 4 6 is 24. 24 multiplied by 2 is 48, right? 24, 2 is 2, 2 is 4, 2 4 is 8, 2 2, yes, 48. And now 6 multiplied by 4 is 24, 24 multiplied by 2 is 48. This is basically multiplication is commutative. You have learned in your grade 6 as well that multiplication is commutative. So the rule applies here. Now you want to take this as the answer or this as the answer. It's your choice. So thank you so much for watching. These were the questions, and we are done with these. Now the only thing you can do is practice more and more. You will be able to solve all the questions on your own. This is very easy, but the only thing it requires is practice.